myself that I was convinced that I failed, but then I'm so happy that I got a distinction in history.
I'm feeling very excited. I mean, I wasn't expecting it this much. I knew I worked hard. I knew I'd reap benefits, but I wasn't expecting this much of the achievement that I've just achieved.
I'm overwhelmed about my marks and I'm over the moon. I'm just happy.
Excitement, happiness, seeing my kids happy, seeing my kids all sorted out because they had hassles for the whole year, sleepless nights, no weekends, no holidays. It paid out and we are so excited.
Well, a very good morning to you once again and a warm welcome to Ivory Park Secondary School. This is where the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga, will be launching the Second Chance Matric Support Program. Now, last night you saw her announce that 70.7% of the class of 2015 matriculants made it. But what happens to that other 29.3% who perhaps didn't make it? 800,000, almost 800,000 students sat for the paper, but we'll take a look at what happens to those. Maybe they did pass, but not as well as they would have anticipated. So the question we're asking this morning, we're not going to get through all those stats because you heard the Minister get into details about that. We want to ask the question, where to now? So, Minister, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. A very good morning and welcome.
No, thank you very much and thanks for having me.
Talk to me about those who maybe are not happy with their results or maybe even failed. What happens to them?
You know, from this year moving forward, we are intensifying our support to supplementary exam learners. We've noticed that in the past, learners who have been given a second chance to write the subjects that they didn't perform well, don't perform well. So we thought it's a wasted opportunity which will support them more to make sure that they do pass their supplementary exams. But we also anticipated this year that there will be lots of learners. We expected even more learners will not make through because we first raised the cognitive standards of our papers. So we did expect that there'll be some learners who will just not be able to make it. But also we had encouraged learners that will otherwise be requested not to return. We encouraged them to write. Some have passed, were very excited about it, but some only wrote part of the subjects. We said write 3 if 6 is too heavy. And those learners, we want to support them more. And even those that have failed, we want to give them a second chance to write.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what we're doing here today, the launch of the Second Chance program. How does it work and what does it entail?
It's a broad program because we're looking at learners who will be at different places at different times. It's not learners that will be having a school, so we have your telematic programs where they can really have support programs through television. We have Vodacom School, which we launched also to get them registered on the Vodacom School. Again, it's ICTs that we're using. We will also be having centers where in case they can access any computer, they can access a phone, they can access a TV, then we'll have dedicated centers where we give them support. It's not your ordinary school. We support them in specific areas and in areas that we know are areas of weakness. The main aim is to close the gap.
Mm-hmm. And we will be going into detail with some of the officials surrounding Second Chance program. What I want to speak to you about now is how we fix the problems that we experienced in 2015. The lowest 3 performing, Eastern Cape right at the bottom. We did see Limpopo at least moved 1 up. It was the second from the bottom, but it was now surpassed by KZN. Those 3, Limpopo, KZN, Eastern Cape, we know where the problems are. The question is, how do we fix it?
Now, the problems are just bigger than even those 3 provinces, we have to admit. The system needs just lots of work in different areas. What we, for instance, with progressed learners, what we know is that these are learners who've been progressed from phase to phase because according to our acts, learners may not repeat a phase more than twice. So if you're in the foundation phase, you fail once, we send you to the intermediate phase. You fail once, we send you. So it's kids who've been progressed and not supported through the system. So which means we have to take these learners as we progress them from the foundation phase and give either remedial education and dedicated support. So it's one of the systems that we have, of the reparations we have to do. The system is also, the landscape is a problem. We find all our kids, because, and you can't blame our learners, because that's what we have presented as government, a very academic system. 80% of our learners have to go to schools to prepare them to go to universities, which is not what the economy sometimes requires. And that's not what the interests of learners or even the talents are. So this year, the president will be launching what we call to strengthen the technical stream so that we begin to move out of the 80-20, 80 academic, 20 technical. Most developed countries, China, for instance, is 50-50, 50 academic, 50 technical. Advanced countries like Germany, they're even more than, it's more technical than academic. So we have to diversify our offerings at a curriculum level. But so there are quite a number of things. Even in the classroom, we have to differentiate because of the pressures that our teachers have. It's, you teach at the pace of the average. So your bright learners are marginalized, your slow learners are marginalized, you're teaching at the average. So we also have to work very closely with our teachers, even with the way we develop our material, to have differentiated. So there's a number of things that have to happen.
Yeah.
But in these three provinces, especially in Limpopo and the Eastern Cape, what stands out is instability in the administration. I mean, Limpopo, for the past 3 years since we intervened in 2011, they've never had a permanent HOD. In the Eastern Cape also, they never had a permanent HOD. So there are also administrative and systemic issues that we have to work with the province, support them to get them to fix them immediately.
Now that we've identified the problems, we'll be keeping a close watch and make sure that you are dealing with the solution so that this time next year, we're not dealing with the same problems. I'm going to ask you to rate yourself. Now we're giving you a mark. 1 being I'm exceptionally disappointed with the results, and 10 being I'm ecstatic. How are you feeling about the results, as briefly as possible?
I'm very grateful to our teachers. They made huge sacrifices to get us to be where.
Minister, you're being a politician.
No, because I really want to be fair to teachers, because I didn't sleep in the classes with them to make them pass. So I'm really giving my teachers 8%.
8 out of 10. 80%.
Yeah, I think
all right.
the best, and I'm
Thank
very
you so
grateful to
much.
them.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll continue to bring you a regular update. We'll be giving you the results for Gauteng. Remember that rivalry between Gauteng and the Western Cape. Gauteng took second position as the overall best performing province, with the Western Cape beating them this time around. We'll speak to the Gauteng Premier in just a moment. Stay with us.